Good morning. Thought I'd review two of the angle finders that Harbor Freight sells. I picked up one of each. I originally got this one to use with my bandsaw to set the angle on a table, but I was concerned that it was too tall, so I picked up this small one. I figured this one would be more versatile and I'd use it more, and I'd use this as a backup. Turns out exactly the opposite. I very rarely use the big one and mostly use the small one, and I'll explain why. So on the big one, this is too tall for the drill press and the bandsaw. There's just not enough vertical height to get this right up against the blade or the drill bit. So I very rarely use this one because I don't do a lot of construction. I don't do a lot of windows, doors, 2x4s, things like that in a building environment. So I'm glad I picked this one up. Very versatile and can be very confusing because it has all of these different scales, but this nut loosens to allow it to move a little easier. I usually tighten it and then just make it very difficult to move, and that saves a lot of time adjusting, putting it where you want it, screwing it down, and it's a lot less likely to move while you're using it. So what I found is I use the top 0 to center it. But what's funny is if I use the top one to center it by the tick mark, I actually use the first scale because that's 90 degrees. So then I can use that to check tool setups. Is my table saw blade square to the table? It's pretty close. But say I want to adjust the table now. Say I want a 30 degree. So I went from 90 to 120 and I used the tick marks at the top to get it pretty lined up. So now I can move, keep checking it. It's getting close, so I'll check it. Oh, that's pretty damn close. I've got it flat against the table, flat against the blade. Make sure that I'm not on a tooth. And there we go. 30 degrees. Now what I like about this is I can set it on this side, then reverse it and put it against the blade. So it's pretty versatile. I like it that I can set it against the blade like that. The tick marks, knowing which of those to use, can be confusing. Okay, there's 90 degrees, and say I want it to go 45 degrees. Use the tick mark in the top to get it right, and I put it on 45, going by the top mark. So if I wanted to set the table saw, then I would use this. I'll go a little lower. Say I wanted to do 10 degrees. Say I wanted to do 20 degrees. So I'll go from 90 to 70 on the second scale. And then I can adjust the blade. There we go. So for tool setup, this is a lot more versatile. It does get confusing with all the different scales. You just have to pay attention to which one you're using. Use a little bit of logic when you're doing it. And I always use 90 degrees as my standard. This isn't meant to teach you how to use all of the angles. If I go 45 this way, 45 this way is a complementary angle of 45 this way. Either one's going to help you set up your tools. So if you're doing tool setup like bandsaw blades, angle on the table saw, or the drill press, I find this works very, very well. So for tool setup, which is what I wanted these for, this is my choice. And it was less than $10. I thought that was a pretty good deal. Wasn't on sale. One of the few things I pay full price for. So this one, to be honest with you, I haven't even found a use for yet. I don't mark a lot of angles like this. I'm sure that it is a useful tool, but for tool setup, which is what I bought it for, it does not work very well. So if you want an aid for setting up your tools, this works very well. And it's less than $10, so it's relatively inexpensive. Takes a little bit of getting used to with all the different angles, but I found it to be pretty accurate. So if you like the videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.